Hello everyone. Today we are going to start with the discussion of each element of the FI organizational structure one by one. Okay, so we would be seeing each element in detail now. So in FI organizational structure, when we saw the hierarchy, at the top we are having the client. So today we would be seeing all about the important aspect of the clients uh, maintained in SAP. So this was the question that was in our last session. Which unit differentiates the stock? So the answer is storage location. So storage location is the unit which actually tells us about the various types of stocks. Now in this session, these are the topics we are going to discuss, like the description of this client in detail and the two types of data which comes under the client, that is client dependent and client independent data. Let's start with our main content. So client. So what do we understand by client? So generally if you see in SAP, the client is highest organizational and technical level. So in this SAP at the top, if you see, client comes in. And in general or in business terms, if you define it, then it corresponds to the corporate group. Corporate group, or simply you can say it contains the group of companies. And another important thing about the client is whatever the data which you will define at the this client level would be applicable for all the organizational unit defined within that particular client. Okay, so we will see the example later. And then this client actually contains business environment with having its own master records, master records, and then transactional records, the tables, and most importantly, user master records. So it means without the client, you won't be even able to log in into the SAP system because your user master data or your ID is actually created under the client itself. And if you see technically, it is a 3 digit, okay, numeric key. For example, like 100, 200, 300, 800, 800 something, okay. So you will be having 3 digit numeric key in SAP. We will be seeing in the system also. And data, for example, you are storing in one client would be actually separated from the another client's data. Now then we are having one important T code to check the client data, and the T code is SCC4. Okay, and apart from that we are having table for client is T000, T triple zero. So the T code is SCC4 and the table is T triple zero, and the technical name by which this client is identified is MANDT. Mostly you would be seeing this particular field in the tables. Okay, So whenever you see this MANDT is written, it simply means this is client. Okay, now we will see the client dependent and independent data. Okay, so firstly we will see client dependent. Okay, let me highlight it. Mm-mm. Okay, so we are having the client dependent. So what do we mean by this client dependent data? So actually, if we write it, this data is actually stored separately per client, and it is, in another language you can say, it is a client specific. So what data is the client specific or stored separately per client? So the first one we have already seen is the user's record, which you can check in the T code as U01. And the next is the company code, and we are having the GL accounts. GL accounts are actually also maintained at the company code level, okay, and also at the chart of account level. So again, the chart of account is a part of client data only, okay. We are having this controlling areas or the controlling data. So these are the things which are client dependent. So it simply means whatever the data which you have created or maintained in the client, that data would only be accessible in that particular client only. Okay. And next we are having the client independent data. Okay, so you have to understand what do we mean by the client independent data. So this data is actually shared across all clients, whatever are maintained in the system. Okay, so the example of these are, first of all, we have to understand that whatever the client independent data is, these are mostly standard things which have been provided by the SAP itself. For example, ABAP programs. So these are the things which are client independent and would be available in all the clients. Okay, and these are not maintained by us. Okay, whatever the custom program which you would be maintaining, that would be client dependent only. Okay, and other than this, importantly, we are having these transaction codes. So these are also client independent, which are standard, not the custom one. So standard T code would be same across all the clients. And other than these, we are also having the like dictionary objects, dictionary objects, and some basis settings. So these are the things which are completely client independent. And another important difference we have to understand is in the client dependent data, okay, so whenever you check the table, so each table would include the field MANDT. It simply means each table would be showing that it is maintained under the client, because we have seen here the technical name of the client is MANDT. Okay, so it is nothing but a client only. While in these tables, okay, for these objects we will also be seeing in SAP, for these we are not having MANDT field in the tables. Okay, so let's see these things in the system. So earlier, while we were seeing the navigation part of it, once you log in the system, you see at the top the client itself. Okay, or here you can also see once you go to the system and you click on the status. So here the client is mentioned. Okay, so this is client. And to check it, we saw in the theory that the T code to check the client is SCC4. So this is the T code. Once you enter it, it will give you the current client details. Okay, enter. So these are the clients which are maintained in the system. So another thing is multiple client can be maintained in single SAP system. Let us click on this one. See currency. Okay. So if you see it is USD. So whatever the currency which is maintained under the client is actually represents the group currency. Okay, so we are having the company code currency or then the group currency. It means this currency would be used to prepare the consolidated financial statements. And other thing is that for 800, this is the name sample IDOC. To check the table, we are having the T code SE16. Okay, enter it. So this is the table name. Okay, so table we are going to give is T triple zero. So we have seen in the theory that the table for the client is T triple zero. Once you click enter, so this is the input screen. In this, we are going to give the name which was written against our client. So the name is sample IDOC. So just execute it. So you can see the details of your client. Okay, so the client is this, and the sample IDOC, the city is this, currency is this, and you can also change the name of these header into technical names. Okay, so the path to do this is, for example, you can go to the settings, click here, and click on the user parameter. If you click here, you will be seeing these two fields under the keyword field name and the field level. Once you are having the field level, it means the name would be in the simple English language. Once you click on the field name, these would be showing you the original name which has been maintained in the technical. Okay, so once you click here and click on enter, now you can see these header have been changed to the technical one. And the most important thing is MANDT is written here. So I have already shown you the technical name for client is MANDT. Okay. And other thing we saw, for example, uh, let me show you in the table itself. We saw there are like client dependent data and we are having client independent data. So in the client independent data, we won't be having any MANDT field. Okay, because that would be applicable for all the clients. Okay, so let me show you one through one table. So TSTC is the table which is used to check the program name and the T code. Let me enter. Okay, let me give one standard T code. So the T code field is there. Let me give the standard T code which is FAGLB03. So this particular T code is used to display the balances of the GL. Okay, we have already given it. Let me execute. See, here we are not having any MANDT field. So it means this particular transaction, this is PGMNA program name. Okay, so this particular program is client independent. So wherever you are in any of the client, once you check it, same details you would be able to see. So it is applicable across the clients. Okay, and not limited to one particular or like any specific client. Okay, and other thing, let me show you what is the T code to check the company codes. So the T code to check the company codes which are maintained under any particular client is T001. Let me enter. Okay, so bookers represents the company code. Let me change it to the simple languages. We have seen we have to select feed level, continue, company code. So I'm leaving it, just execute it. If you see, these are the company code which are there. So here, if you see, the first column is the client. Okay, so it means these company code are specific to this client only and available in this client only. This data would be known as the client dependent data because these company code are part of this MANDT. Okay, and some of the example of like data which is created under the client is like document type, posting key, fiscal year variant, material types, exchange rates. So all of these things are the client data only. So let me show you one of the document type. So the T code to check the document type is OBA7. Let me enter it. Okay, so let me take AA, which is a standard document type. So here, if you see the document type is AA, account types allowed. It means the types of posting are allowed: asset, customer, vendor, material, GL, and the control is negative postings permitted. So for example, we saw the company codes, whatever were there. Okay, so in each company code, you can use this particular document type. So for example, in the SAP, you are having like multiple company code. Okay, company code A, B, C. So this document type, same document type can be used across multiple company code. The reason is whatever in the beginning we have seen, whatever the data which is defined at the client level can be used across all the entities which are defined within that particular client. Okay, so in this particular client we are having multiple company code. We can use this document type across all of those. Okay, and the same name, same number range would be applicable. And so it means that same document number can be there across multiple company codes. Okay, so whenever if you like open any accounting document using T code FP03, if you see, here is a document number. So how you will identify that this document number differing from the same document number available like any other place? So simply you will be giving the company code and the fiscal year. So these two like controls would help you to identify or differentiate between two similar document. So this is how this client data works. Okay, let's jump to our question section. So the first question is, what is the T code to check the client? We have already seen it is SCC4. So the second question is, which I want all of you to answer in the comment section, that what is the table for client? Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you.